So where are the L1 team? What is going on and where do we stand currently with things? And I think these are a few of the questions that are circulating the community currently. So we're going to go over things. I have been reached out to finally after around 2 weeks of silence. I have been reached out to, which is really good. It's good to get the connection back with these development teams and them simply saying to themselves, more than likely, it's just business at the end of the day. We can't hold emotional standpoints over past governance procedures. So something that's become quite apparent to everybody is the U-turn that the L1 are making. They have cut ties with Hexagon and Hexagon have cut ties with them. This is really important moving forward. It shows we're being listened to. The community's will is getting through and they're starting to understand, wow, if we don't obey governance and we don't do what we're supposed to do, this is the results of what happens. And it's really good to be at this point and being able to actually do this video and connect the dots and point things out to people, because they're making a U-turn in a manner where they're going back to the past governance proposal, which was proposed by myself. It was agreed with LBA and it was all done and dusted. The T's were crossed, the I's were dotted, and it was up until the point that LBA became doxxed and he had to leave, that all went out the window. We saw the deals happening behind closed doors. We saw a lot of different things going on that we didn't want to see, and we weren't very happy about this. So with them making this U-turn, they're going back to the past proposal, like I said, and I think they're taking it step by step. You're going to have to compartmentalize these things and you're going to have to chip away at it very carefully. And I think the way that they're approaching this is really good. So what I've got up on the screen at the moment, if you're wondering what this is the Q4 proposal. I don't know when this is going to be going up for governance. I would like to see this go up sooner rather than later, especially on top of all of the other little bits we're going to be speaking about in this video. I feel like the time is right. We really need some good momentum in the community right now, and this is definitely some good momentum. So as we can see, there is only a $9,000 budget for the next 3 months for these developers. We can see we've only got 3 developers that are going to remain. It looks like one of them has possibly left, but this doesn't matter for us because in here, right, it specifically states they don't really have a lot of L1 stuff to do. The ties have been cut, etc., 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 yada, yada, yada. Now, with that all being said, my direct communication with them has led me to the following. They're actually beginning with building a landing page for our blockchain, and with that comes the documentation for the site. From that, you have a base foundation of pure. And I mean, this is great because it's going to be chain owned, the way they're building it, the way they're approaching it. Touch wood, touch wood. And this is all going to go down the way it should go down. We'll get that landing page, we'll get the site, we'll get the documentation. And then from that, we're going to see them move to the wallet. And this isn't my words. This is from the L1 team. They're going to be moving to the wallet after that. And after the wallet's done and dusted, like I said, this is all going to be compartmentalized. They're going to have to take it step by step because the infra that comes after that, it's not a small project. And by infra, I think they do mean endpoint infrastructure, stuff like that moving forward, stuff that's chain owned. At the end of the day, we need chain owned stuff because third parties we've seen, they're not really that reliable. We can see Luna are actually struggling with similar issues going on with infrastructure and community pool spends, which is really interesting. I'm probably going to do a video on it because I think it's quite relevant to us that we're not the only ones sort of thinking to ourselves, is it worth paying these people out of our community pool? With us becoming a chain that owns its own infrastructure, it's going to be really effective for us moving forward because we hold more cards in our hand as a chain. For me, all nodes aren't ever going to go anywhere. I've been here for a year and 6 months now, and they've never once ever, and I mean, they've probably been through some crazy stuff, especially with the whole Bilbo attack and the Jacob Gadakin attack. They're still here, and it's those sort of things that I weigh people on their actions, on real world things that they do, the way that they portray themselves in public. It's so important to take notice of that. But then again, at the same time, right, everybody's always going to say the same thing. At any point they could just say we're not going to be providing this anymore, and that leaves us in a very peculiar situation. So for me, the next 3 months, seeing these developers specifically working on what was agreed through governance is groundbreaking for us, and the end result of it is going to be we're going to get our own website that's chain owned. We're going to get a wallet system that's chain owned. We're going to get infrastructure that's chain owned. And there's a lot of people wondering, what other good stuff's going to be coming on top of this? Well, you've got people working behind the scenes on the United Vision, right? I'm going to be doing a video specifically on this, going over everything, but the dynamic commission module is going to change everything alongside the dynamic tax. It's going to introduce an environment where it's an equal playing field. People want to come and build. People want to come be part of the chain, and people actually can come and build. They're not going to be worried about some hefty tax system. And by the time it gets to a point where the taxes are up high, they would have already built. The chain would be in full flow, and the volume running through the chain would be crazy. At that point, those taxes don't become that hefty because of the amount you're actually getting in return to the amount everything's worth. It starts to balance itself out a little bit better. So I think the next 3 months are going to be very interesting. You've got the L1 team actively working for the next 3 months on a $9,000 budget. This is great. This is what we want to see right now. We're going to get the wallet infrastructure. We're going to get website infrastructure. We're going to get endpoint infrastructure. We've got these new dynamic tax systems coming. And the world's our oyster past that point, right? We'll get the United Vision done. We'll speak to the community and we'll see what you want doing next. And there's always going to be people like us working behind the scenes for free. I can't speak for the L1 development team, but I can definitely speak for the people that I work with, that none of us are buyable. And it's something that I've realized that we're all part of this sort of group that don't want to be paid, because we understand that building a validator, building a project is the way to move forward, and you get support through real world actions. We shouldn't be just nilly-willy handing out payments to whoever for whatever, and we've got 7 different teams doing 7 different things. It just is never going to work. I'm actually genuinely excited for the next 3 months of everything that's going to be coming. So from what I understand, the L1 are going to be doing some kind of L1 meeting, and they're going to do an update for the community. I think this is really good. Something I think that L1 lacks is an LBA, someone who's really good with community outreach, understands the system, doesn't get tied up in like social media stuff, and really takes a very mature standpoint on everything and leaves their ego at the door. I think this is going to be so important for them moving forward, so they can do what developers do best, and that is develop. And then they have someone who's really good at PR, who handles the front of the shop. They speak to people and they allow those developers to simply develop unhindered, not worried about all of the different ongoings, not getting flooded with all the different bad actors and stuff like that, just simply working away. And I think this is such a good thing when you work off of your own back, you work for free. You kind of do it because you want to do it. You love a technology, you believe in it, you spin up a validator. It all becomes so worthwhile for you at that point. You begin to enjoy things. You begin to do things with no time constraints, no people jumping down your neck saying, well, we've paid you this, you haven't done this. Instead, you're doing stuff at your own rate, right? And everybody knows this. If you're at work and you're working and someone keeps coming, checking your work, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It's not exactly incentive to work. But at the same time, right, I will always put myself in both situations, so both sides of this. At the same time, if you put yourself in the community's shoes, not the developer's shoes, and you say to yourselves, it's been a year and 6 months. We're sick of you not obeying governance. We're sick of not getting a simple thing such as an on-ramp. We're just absolutely sick of it at this point. And then once again, put yourself in their shoes and think, it's not helping. So once again, you can play this from both sides. You can look at it from both sides. But the most important thing right now is there's some kind of unity forming behind the scenes. People are starting to realize who's trying to destroy this boat and who's trying to patch holes in it, who's bailing water out and who's really bringing the water in and trying to cause this ship to sink. They want us divided at this point. They want us to be apart. And I think we're at a point now, especially with this reach out, it's so important. Things are changing. And like I said, the will of the community is being obeyed. I'm so excited, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. Other than that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.